A Guten Erev Shabbos. The Yom Tov which places the greatest emphasis on Chinuch is the Yom Tov of Pesach. As we see in this week's Parsha numerous times, where we're instructed to relate to our children, to tell our children, etc., etc., etc. In that vein, I would like to share a fundamental concept in Chinuch, beginning with the words of the Rebbe Rashab in Hayom Yom. The Rebbe Rashab writes, just as wearing tefillin every day is a mitzvah commanded by Torah to every individual, so too it is an absolute duty for every person to spend a half hour every day thinking about the Torah education of their children. I once heard a question asked, is there a requirement to spend a half hour for every one of our children? If I'm blessed with 5 children, do I have to spend 2.5 hours a day thinking about the chinuch of my children? An answer was proposed as following. The Frierdiker Rebbe wrote the Sefer Klolei HaChinuch V'Hadracha, which is a directive to teachers and educators how to educate our children. And at the beginning of the Sefer he writes that the first requirement is the self-criticism by the educator or the mentor. All human beings, if the Rebbe Rashab writes, Frierdiker Rebbe writes, have both positive qualities and failings. It is our job to toil in the avodah of removing them, uprooting them, and replacing them with newly acquired positive qualities. So actually, if we spend a half an hour a day working on ourselves, we can affect all of our children, regardless if we're blessed with 2 or 10. My father, Alav Shalom, would tell a story with Rab Nachum Mendel of Kotsk. One of his chassidim came to him one time, bemoaning the fact that his children don't learn. The Rebbe asked him, do you learn in your spare time? Rebbe, I have no time. I'm working. To which the Kotzkers told him, if you don't model the activity of learning Torah, they're not going to either learn Torah. So do you mean, said the fellow, that all the years of nudging my children to learn was in vain? To which the Kotzker responded, absolutely not. One day they will also have children, and they'll nudge their own children to learn. Our children observe our conduct, our behavior, and at one point, as they get older, they usually begin to model and they begin to implement and incorporate this which they saw in their parents into their own lives. I'd like to conclude with a fascinating experiment that was once done. A teacher acted and preached about the idea of generosity. The children, the students observed it, and it was noticed over a period of time that they became more generous. Then they took another group of children, and the teacher just did acts of generosity and kindness, but did not preach it. And they noticed the students increase their own generosity even more when the teacher preached. The lesson is clear. We need to model outstanding behavior, and this is one of the best ways to influence the behaviors of our children. Have a wonderful Shabbos.